Ladies and gents, it's your boy C-Jax back with another video, okay? And today we are going to be discussing the game Triple Fraud, okay? Now, there has been some recent news that has come out about WWE as a whole, about the whole situation with Lesnar returning and Triple H's role in that, and we tried to blame it on John Cena for Lesnar returning, but obviously Cena shut that down, which we'll talk about, and obviously, let's get this out of the way now. WWE is officially moving their PLEs next year to ESPN, okay? There's a new ESPN and WWE partnership in which they're gonna be charging $29.99, $30 a month, basically, to watch WWE PLEs next year on the ESPN WWE merged streaming service to watch the shows. Just think about that for a second. You're next year, because Peacock's deal with WWE is going to expire in early 2026. So what they're going to do is they're going to charge you $30+ a month for 5 match card PLEs, bro. And these people have the audacity to tell you that they love the fans. WWE, TKO, Triple Fraud, they all work in lockstep. They said it themselves. They all work in lockstep with the storylines and also outside of that with the business as a whole. So these decisions are made to you by these group of people. And the harsh truth about this situation that nobody wants to talk about with WWE in their current state that they're in, which is absolutely abysmal, the fact is WWE is doing these things like jacking up the ticket prices in person and, you know, doing things like charging $30+ a month now to get a streaming service to watch one PLE a month. Stuff like that is being done because WWE simply isn't making enough money. Because I've referenced before, and some of you may just know this just in general, but the fact is TKO is in billions of dollars of debt, actually, whereas Bobby Monsoon would say they're in $3 billion of debt. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Bobby Monsoon, man. That dude's awesome. But still, you get the point, bro. When you're in debt by billions of dollars, these are the type of measures that you have to stoop to in order to get some money. That's why you see them taking, you see at least 15 to 20 ads in any WWE PLE. There's there's ads on the ring mat on Raw. This is what it is now. They need these sponsors. They need these ads to make money. They go to Saudi Arabia for these shows because they're getting paid 50 to 100 mil a show at this point, and that's just what it is because the ticket sales are down. You can look it up. The merch sales are down. Ticket sales, like I said, are down. The viewership is down. So their Netflix deal is probably in jeopardy, you know what I'm saying, once that comes up, and that's going to be it. You get me? Because if you're not selling as many tickets, you're not getting as many views, and on top of that, you're also not selling as much merch, and fans are tuning away from your product, you're losing what I'm saying, the general audience. So you have to obviously charge the people who actually watch the product more so you can price gouge them. Like, this is not an opinion. These are just the facts of what they're doing to the fans. I wish I could say that this is a joke, but this is the reality, bro. This is legit. It happened this morning. Roman Reigns was on First Take actually talking about this partnership between ESPN and WWE. So this is the new era. Triple H was there as well talking about it. This is an absolute and utter travesty at this point. WWE, TKO, Triple H, all of them do not give a crap about when it comes to actually pricing out fans. They don't give a crap, bro. They'll charge you, if they really could get away with it, they would charge you like $50 for the streaming service. Because back then when I was growing up in the pay-per-view days, you know what I'm saying? If pay-per-views were like $50 to $60 plus on Comcast, which is what I used to watch them on, and now you're gonna have to pay half of that for a streaming service so you can consistently pay. And remember, you're paying $30+ for a 5-match card PLE, bro. Just think about that for a second, and you tell me that this company and the guy who's running the show, Triple Fraud, cares about this. It's ridiculous. And that's just a simple truth that nobody wants to admit, but it's the reality. And obviously in this video, we have to discuss a bunch of other things about Triple H and the way WWE is ran, because quite frankly, it's unwatchable. I already told you guys on Monday, from now on, like I've been doing consistently low-key, I'm just going to watch the first hour of Raw and SmackDown and then skip the rest of it and watch the rest in segments or highlights and then make the reviews. I'm not watching this show minute for minute. I'm not doing that garbage. The point is this, right? At the end of the day, there's multiple issues with this company, and it all can stem, for a lot of it can stem from Triple H. Some of it is TKO for sure, but the large bulk is the person who's creating the content we get on a weekly basis. If the content was good and the PLEs were 5 matches, but the matches had great builds, great stories, and the match quality was amazing every time, or at least solid every time or better, we would not be complaining. You understand what I'm saying? Fans would not be tuning out in droves, but because it's not, no one cares. The ego of Triple H is killing this company. His favoritism on talent is killing this company. His lack of care, you understand, for what other people want, including fans and including wrestlers, is killing this company. And I'm going to break that down and give you guys some new statistics I found, because we can actually look at the worldwide viewership on Netflix for PLEs and stuff like that. So I'm going to add that in as well. But with that being said, Let's get into the video. First off, we have to talk about the fact that John Cena officially confirmed in an interview with somebody, I think he was on set of a movie this week, it's like a day or two ago, and he basically confirmed that he says a quote from him himself, he said himself that he, for 25 years it's been the same thing. They draw the cards and I play them. Basically saying that WWE and creative, they make the storylines and John Cena makes the best of those storylines, which shows you he did not want probably the Brock Lesnar to come back, okay? He didn't want to do this story, but Triple H forced Brock Lesnar back in. He had Brock Lesnar return at SummerSlam and F5 John Cena after he was supposed to have his moment, going off the air and it being his final SummerSlam, etc. And now John Cena has to play with the cards that he was dealt, okay? And the funny thing is that in the post-show for SummerSlam Night 2, okay, Triple H was literally saying John Cena wants these stories for his retirement tour. This is all up to John. Triple H tried to deflect the blame and the backlash on John Cena, arguably the GOAT of WWE. He's my opinion, he is the GOAT. And you're deflecting blame on him in his final run rather than taking the blame for you bringing back Brock Lesnar and booking this heel run to be absolutely meaningless, pointless, and a lot of it was garbage and just nonsensical, right? That is what Triple H did, and now he's trying to blame it on John Cena? Do you see the ego on this guy? He will never take the blame for something being bad. WWE will constantly post about, oh, well, look at the social media, man. The social media views. We had hundreds of millions social media views. Okay, how much of that is translating to the actual viewership week to week on Raw and SmackDown? Because SmackDown, for the last couple months, has witnessed record low viewership in the history of SmackDown. You can look it up and you know this is actual facts. On top of that, I now have viewership, stats for the PLEs this year. Look at this chart and you will see that the Royal Rumble had 3 million views. This is on Netflix, okay? And in America, it probably got around like 2 to 3 million. So you had 6 million total for Royal Rumble, let's say. Then Elimination Chamber went down to around 2 million. Then WrestleMania Saturday was 2.4. Mania Sunday was 2.8. And look at the decline afterwards. Backlash, you barely drew 1.5 million globally. Globally, hundreds of millions of people on Netflix and only 1.5 million chose to tune in. Money in the Bank, the same thing basically. And the Night of Champions, a disastrous 1 million. Do you understand what I'm saying? The viewership is drastically declining over the summer. And apparently Saturday Night Main Event, like the viewership for that on what's called on NBC and, Peacock and all that stuff was around like 1.8 million for Goldberg's retirement. Like, are you kidding me? The viewership drastically declines and you're seeing it. Explain to me how WWE last year in the build to Mania 40 was getting 2.4 million viewers consistently on SmackDown weekly. You understand what I'm saying? And now you're barely getting 1 million worldwide for a PLE. What is the logic on this? People have stepped away because they're tired of being disrespected. They're tired of being gaslit by this guy, Triple H, who blatantly tells fans to, if you don't like our content, he said this after Mania, if you don't like the content, F off. That is not a leader. That is not a boss. That is a person who is just disrespecting the people who are watching the product. And even with Karrion Krossington, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, I've called Karrion Kross a jobber on multiple occasions because that's what he's booked as, and that's just what he is at the moment. I mean, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, Triple H was at the post show for SummerSlam Night 2 and was chanting, the crowd was chanting, "We want Cross," and he says, "You want him, you got him. You got Brock."
It's You have him. You've got him. Yeah, you want Brock, you've got him.
I'm like, look at the blatant disrespect to Karrion Kross, bro. Like, yes, he's a jobber, but that doesn't matter. Just as a man-to-man, human-to-human, that is disrespectful. And then Braun Strowman said on Twitter, he goes, yeah, you know what I'm saying? He basically says that it's all about nepotism and, butt kissers and all that stuff. People who kiss up. That is how people get over now in WWE backstage. That's what he's saying, at least. That's an allegation, but we don't know what it is. We don't know the validity of it, but that's just what it is at this current moment, man. It's absolutely embarrassing the disrespect that Triple H gives to this talent. And on top of that, he obviously is an egomaniac. We know this. We remember how he buried Booker T back at WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? This is just what this guy does. And every current talent now that actually has a potential to be great or be awesome or things of that nature, you see them get booked like jobbers and get buried. It is what it is. We see it every time. LA Knight should be a multiple-time world champion at this point, or at least one time he should be at least an IC champion or higher, and all he's gotten is 2 meaningless U.S. championship reigns. And the first U.S. title reign he had I thought was great anyways, and he still didn't get anything for it. Roman Reigns carried the company on his back, is the biggest star in the entire industry, the best performer that WWE has ever seen since John Cena, and you mean to tell me that Roman Reigns comes out each week to get his shoes taken and get jobbed out? That is what you're telling me. Pinned by Solo Sikoa at last year's Crown Jewel. Is probably going to get pinned by Braun Breaker in the next couple months. This is the type of booking that he does to people who can actually be those top guys. Drew McIntyre. Do we even need to get into this? I can't stop jobbing out. That's what it's going to become now. Instead of I can't stop thinking about Punk, it's going to become I can't stop jobbing. Because that's what Drew McIntyre is doing. He's gotten pinned this year and beat this year by Damian Priest. He got beat by and got concertoed and knocked out at Saturday Night Main Event. Randy Orton pinned him, I think, once or twice. Jey Uso pinned him. Jimmy Uso pinned him. Seth Rollins pinned him. And then obviously he lost the feud with CM Punk last year. This dude was world champion for 4 minutes and got cashed in on by Damian Priest at a WrestleMania. Do you understand how embarrassing this is? You couldn't have Drew McIntyre have a world title feud with CM Punk leading into the summer and up until SummerSlam. You had to give it to Gunther. It's just like, dude, I don't understand any of this, man. It's some of the dumbest booking of all time. Randall Orton. He's not Randy Orton anymore. He's Randall Orton now. Randall Orton has not won. He's won like maybe 1 or 2 singles matches in the last like 5 years on PLEs. It's just ridiculous at this point. He's pinned in. One of those wins is Joe Hendry. You know, like it's just ridiculous. AJ Styles goes out and jobs out to Dominic Mysterio. I do believe he's going to win the IC title at Clash in Paris though, so it is what it is. Carmelo Hayes is in catering. All the talents he's got charisma, good interest, everything. He's in catering. Austin Theory. You mean to tell me that with the best booking possible, Austin Theory can't be at least a very solid mid-carder? At least? That's what you're telling me. That's what WWE is telling you right now. That's what Triple H is doing. New Day. They're coming out in these top hats, getting jobbed out by Penta in a 1-on-3 with them two and Big G. Listen, they do funny segments backstage, I get that, but this is not acceptable. The New Day had one of the greatest heel turns we've seen in the modern day WWE, and you're telling me that the best thing you could do was give them a garbage tag championship reign that was way overdue. It should have happened earlier, and then after they get the reign, they lose it on a random episode of Raw, and then proceed to get jobbed out by Penta. What are we doing at this point, man? And John Cena in his final retirement tour is being openly disrespected and lied about by Triple H, the new content creative officer, you know what I'm saying? The game Triple H. And on top of that, John Cena's heel turn, you can tell that he probably didn't even want this to happen. Because remember, the idea that The Rock had originally was for Cody to go heel and Cena to say face. And then at the end of the year, maybe Cody could turn back to being face and you'd be fine. You know what I'm saying? But instead, they wasted Cena's last year by having a meaningless heel run that ended with him turning face in a SmackDown promo right before SummerSlam. That lets you know that Triple H had no creative vision, no actual nuance, and no ability to make this heel run great. And now people are going to look back at it and consider this heel run complete garbage. Heck, people are calling it garbage all year so far. So it's just going to be continued to look back on as a waste of 5 months in John Cena's final year in WWE. And that falls on Triple H, who wanted Cena to be the one to turn heel. He wanted to take the creative responsibility of doing it, and The Rock walked away. And Triple H did his thing, and he absolutely failed miserably, man. John Cena should have held the belt. He should have won the IC belt as well, and that's how we should have moved on from this situation. But instead, we got absolutely nothing. We got a bad heel reign booked by an absolute fraud. And while all of these talents that can actually be great are getting buried and disrespected in the ring and outside of the ring and everything like that, and the prices are going up but the quality goes down, the viewers are walking away, okay? The fact is, Triple H in the midst of all of this is pushing his personal favorites. They get to excel, and his ignorance and having no ability to build stars has ruined WWE. He doesn't care what you want, man. It just is what it is. He does cheap heel turns and cheap pop booking. That's all he does. I said this before. He does cheap pop booking. John Cena turns heel, goes nowhere, and has a terrible run that's going to be remembered as absolute garbage. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns have the big build-up. So Cody Rhodes finishes his story, gets a title reign where he has 10 title defenses in nearly 400 days, and has nothing memorable or notable about that entire title reign besides maybe 3 or 4 segments and a match or two. And that's what you get. You get what I mean? Brock Lesnar comes back in F5 John Cena. I'd love to see how this story plays out. Seth Rollins, he gets a shock factor, Money in the Bank cash in, which, yes, it was a cool moment, a really, really good moment. I actually really enjoyed it. But then you think about the logistics of it, it makes no sense, and it doesn't matter. You know Seth Rollins is not holding onto this belt past maybe Mania, so all this big faction he's aligning with is going to do all this to have a 7-month title reign and get pinned by Sami Zayn maybe at Mania. Like, really? None of this stuff matters, man. New Day heel turn happens. Where does it go? You can go down the list. All of these big moments go nowhere. Drew McIntyre has a big feud with CM Punk. Where does it go? It leads to him getting pinned by Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso. None of this stuff matters. What at WrestleMania 41 has had an amazing and exciting payoff with great story continuation that really has you excited for the rest of the year? Nothing. There's nothing that happened at Mania that leads on with any of those things that I just mentioned. It doesn't have it. Nothing made SummerSlam special besides John Cena main eventing versus Cody Rhodes in his final SummerSlam. That's it. And you know that. Rollins' cash-in was cool, and then Cena's match was cool. Other than that, there's nothing memorable about this show. The TLC match was tons of fun, and it was a great match, but there's very small things that you can pick out from this SummerSlam that was 2 nights. It's unacceptable, man. There's no understanding of actually making good booking decisions to benefit the long-term storytelling that we're told Triple H has these long-term stories planned out. That's what he says in Unreal, but everything feels short-term and booked for cheap thrills and shock factor. So you just see how the foundation of WWE is just built on lies and things just not making sense. We've gone through this before. Nothing makes sense in WWE anymore. Io Sky on Raw announces that she just went backstage and asked Adam Pearce for a World Championship rematch, and she just got one. What are we doing at this point? But Cody Rhodes has to do a King of the Ring to get a title shot. Jey Uso doesn't get a rematch versus Gunther. He has to go in the King of the Ring to get a title shot. Roman Reigns has the belt for over 4 years, and he doesn't even get a rematch versus Cody Rhodes for that title, man. Like, what are we talking about at this point? We are doing some of the dumbest booking. Triple H is doing some of the dumbest booking that I've ever seen. And it's unacceptable at this point. Nothing makes any sense anymore. All of his favorites just get booked into oblivion, and it makes it boring. How in the world are you going to build stars and create main eventers if you keep pushing the same people? If everyone keeps winning, if the same people are winning championships, how is anyone going to get over? How is anyone going to grow? How is anyone going to learn how to build themselves? It's not going to happen. Out of the 6 or 7 world championship reigns that we've had so far, I think, in this modern era since like 2023 when they made the new belt with Rollins, we've had the same champion in 4 of the reigns. It's simple. Damian Priest had it. Jey Uso had it. Gunther had it twice, and now Rollins has it twice. And in between there, you had Punk and Drew McIntyre holding it for like 4 minutes each. That is what you've gotten. And if you think that that's acceptable, it's not. If we're told that this roster is the most stacked it's ever been and business is booming and business is the best it's ever been, how is it possible that you can only have 3 or 4 different world champions in a 2.5-year span? That is unacceptable, man. Like, none of this stuff is acceptable at all, but no one brings it up. I don't get it. Rhea Ripley, if she's not fighting for a championship, then she's feuding for a championship. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter what happens. I don't even think that made sense when I just said low-key when you think about it, but you get the point. The booking doesn't make sense. If Rhea Ripley is not going after a world championship and trying to take back a title that she never lost, she's going to be feuding in some main event level feud somewhere else. If she doesn't have the belt, she's feuding for it. That's the bottom line, and it makes her character boring and one-dimensional. All she does is cry and cry and cry, and she gets put in a main event title match every single time. Every single world title match this year on a PLE, I'm pretty sure, has involved Rhea Ripley to some extent. She's either been the one-on-one or it's been a triple threat involving Rhea Ripley for every single women's world championship match this year on a card. That is unacceptable. And if you think otherwise, you're just lying to yourself at that point. You're not going to get new talent over if the same people are fighting. Gunther cannot have 2 world championship reigns in the span of 10 months, and you consider it good booking. No one's getting a chance to improve or grow or develop themselves. It's the same people, because Triple H can't build stars, so he just keeps revolving the door around his favorites. Seth Rollins has a boring world championship reign. It had he was fighting consistently, and I get that, and he made a lot of sacrifice with that belt, and that's what I respect about that title reign. That's what I love about that title reign. That's what I appreciate about that title reign. You know what I'm saying? But the deal is this. Seth Rollins' first world championship reign was largely forgettable. Like, can you tell me any amazing feuds he had in that 1-year-long reign dang near? I can't tell you any, and there wasn't any. You know what I mean? There was no stories. There's no memorable, amazing promos or anything like that. It doesn't happen. And then he gets the belt back now, and we're already back to being bored with this garbage faction that makes no sense. Why is Braun Breaker, who's built to be the future star of the industry, sitting in subservience as a lackey jobber to help Seth Rollins win a title that Braun Breaker should want to win? None of this makes any sense, and you know it doesn't make sense. So why are we doing this? And then Cody Rhodes literally got his first WWE Championship reign after Mania 40, and he beat Roman Reigns. The reign goes absolutely nowhere. He then loses it to Cena in a heel run that went nowhere and was a waste of time. And then Cody Rhodes now finally wins the championship back, and what's going to happen next? He's going to job everyone out? He just kicked out of like 6 or 7 attitude adjustments through a table, in the ring, off the top rope. He took one on the ramp, off the ramp. Like what else is this dude? He got an STF put on him with the bottom of a rope, an actual rope from the ring. He got it put on him and choked him out, and he still got out of it. How is Cody Rhodes going to be believable to lose any match going forward? Unless he gets hit with 8+ finishers, he's not going to lose. So no matter who he fights next, which apparently it's going to be Drew McIntyre, which that's going to be great to see Drew McIntyre get pinned again. You know what I'm saying? Again in a main event level match. It's unacceptable, man. Cody Rhodes is going to be boring. We know he's unbeatable. He doesn't have anything to offer to us as a storyteller, as a mic worker right now, and he hasn't been for months at this point. So I don't know what we're doing with this championship reign. What are we going to do with it? Nothing. So it's just, we're going to have to wait till Mania 42 or SummerSlam next year for him to lose the belt, and no one wants to see that, bro. So I just don't know what else to say at this point. All of these stars and all of these wrestlers and these roster members get their growth stunted. They just do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. This is why you get record low viewership on both shows. No one else can get a chance to be a main eventer if they get jobbed out and are not featured and are not being booked and getting the same opportunities as upper card or main event level talent. It's funny to me that people will literally bash Vince McMahon for overbooking Roman Reigns and, playing favorites, with his people like his Cenas, or his Ortons or his Romans, etc. But all of a sudden, when Triple H does it with Rollins and Cody and Rhea and Gunther, no one says anything. It's like it never happened. You know what I'm saying? It's the clear bias towards this guy. We have to stop being biased and be more objective. Triple H is doing the same thing Vince McMahon is doing, but worse, because Vince was actually pushing people who are all-time great talents, like Randy, like Cena, and like Roman Reigns. None of these people that Triple H are pushing are all-time great talents. Cody Rhodes, aka Stardust, is not an all-time great talent. Gunther, in my opinion, is not an all-time great talent. Rhea Ripley, not yet, is not an all-time great talent. And Seth Rollins, he is not an all-time great. Seth Rollins is great. You get what I'm saying? I think he's one of my favorite wrestlers. I said this before. He's going to go down, as a top 30 wrestler ever, probably, or maybe top 25. But in all seriousness, when we're talking about people who are over-pushed, if you are over-pushed, you need to genuinely be top 10 all time. You get what I'm saying? You see the common denominator with Randy and Roman and Cena? That's the situation with that. These are top 10, top 12 guys ever. You get me? So it's so that is different pushing them than pushing Stardust. It's two different things. And that's the bottom line, because Jax said so. I wanted to make this video to expose more issues with this company. All of these PLEs getting Raw and SmackDown matches is unacceptable, but the prices go up for them though, but the quality's going down. And all of the different egotistical and favoritism that Triple H shows in order to ruin this company and the blatant disrespect of his talents is just unacceptable at this point. We have to look at this and be honest about it, man. It's stupid and it makes no sense. And I will continue to expose this for as long as I have to until there is a change. So with that being said, I thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate your support so much, and watch out, because eventually your boy is going to be doing some live streams. I'm not going to give a date or a time, but that will happen at some point in the future, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out and one love.